Precious, do you want this? Tell me to stop before it is too late. Precious looked into his eyes, her heart pounding. Instead of answering, she leaned in and kissed him again, her lips conveying her answer. Mr. Lee continued, their chemistry igniting a fire between them. As the night went on, Mr. Lee discovered that Precious was pure, a virgin. He was surprised and deeply moved by her trust in him. I will cherish this special gift you have given me, Precious, Mr. Lee whispered, his voice filled with tenderness. They couldn't resist the pull between them, and that night they shared their first night together, lost in each other's arms. Precious woke up early the next morning, her mind filled with confusion about what had happened the previous night. She quietly slipped out of the bed, careful not to wake June. She quickly gathered her belongings and left the hotel room, her heart racing. As she hurried down the hallway, Precious couldn't help but replay the events of the night before, the intense chemistry, the passionate kiss, and the emotion that had overwhelmed her. She was unsure how to process it all and decided she needed some space. Mr. Lee woke up a short while later and reached out for Precious, only to find her side of the bed empty. He frowned and got out of the bed, searching the bathroom and her room, but she was nowhere to be found. Concerned, he called the receptionist. Good morning, this is Mr. Lee. Can you tell me if Miss Precious has checked out of the hotel? The receptionist replied, yes, Mr. Lee. She left early this morning. June's heart sank. He tried calling Precious, but she didn't answer. Confused and worried, he quickly got ready and left the hotel, determined to find her and understand what was going on. Back at home, Precious sat on her bed, thinking about everything that has happened. She decided to bravely accept the feelings she had for June. Determined to talk to him and accept his feelings, she dressed for the office and headed out. When Precious arrived at the office, she was met with an unexpected shock. A beautiful Korean lady was sitting in Mr. Lee's chair, eyeing Precious with intimidating eyes. Excuse me, ma'am, Precious said politely. Mr. Lee will be here soon. Could you please wait for him in the visitors area? The woman laughed, a cold and dismissive sound. I can sit wherever I want because I am Mr. Lee's fiancee. Precious felt her world crumbled around her. Trying to keep her composure, she asked, fiancee? But June never mentioned. The woman interrupted her with a laughing smile. Oh, you must be that assistant he's been spending time with. I've heard about you. Precious' heart sank. I don't understand. The fiancée leaned in closer, her eyes filled with disdain. You see, June was just using you. He would never marry someone like you. His parents would never let him marry a poor woman. You're just a distraction. Precious felt her emotion getting out of hand. She could barely hold back her tears as she said, I need to go. Without another word, she rushed out of the office, her heart breaking. Precious wandered the streets aimlessly, tears flowing down her face. She couldn't believe what she had just heard. How could she have been so foolish to give June her virginity while he had a fiancé? The pain and betrayal she felt was overwhelming, and she didn't know how to move forward. June was driving around searching for Precious. When he saw her crying by the roadside, he quickly pulled over and got out of the car to meet her. Precious, June called out, his voice filled with concern. Precious saw June coming towards her and tried to run away, but he caught up to her and gently stopped her. Please, let me explain, he said, guiding her to a nearby park so they could talk. Once they were seated, Precious angrily told him, I blame myself for this. I heard about you being a playboy, and now I see it's true. Why did you sleep with me when you have a fiancé? June's expression turned sad as he explained, Precious, the engagement was arranged by my family. She is my dad's business partner's daughter. I never agreed to the engagement. Precious looked at him, her eyes filled with pain and confusion. I don't know what to believe anymore. I need some space to think about everything. Mr. Lee nodded, respecting her wishes. I understand. I'll give you the space you need. He dropped her off at her house, watching her go with a heavy heart. He knew he had to find a way to prove his sincerity and win her back. Precious decided to forget everything about Mr. Lee. She resigned from her job and moved to another city. There she found a new job, not as good as the previous one at Mr. Lee's company, but still okay. She tried hard to forget Mr. Lee, but he was always on her mind. A few days after their talk, Mr. Lee tried calling Precious, but her line wasn't going through. He went to her house, but she was no longer there. Confused and sad, he decided to let go of her and forget her, thinking that was what she wanted. But no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't forget her. He kept remembering everything about her, from her smile to their moments together. 2 months later, Precious had settled into her new job. She still thought about Mr. Lee but tried to move on. One morning, while at the office, she suddenly felt the urge to throw up. She quickly ran to the bathroom and threw up. As she stood there, she realized she hasn't seen her period for 2 months since her night with Mr. Lee. Her heart pounding, Precious quickly left the office to get a pregnancy test kit. She entered a nearby restaurant bathroom after her heart trembling as she opened the kit. She followed the instruction and waited, her heart racing. Please be negative, she whispered to herself, her mind racing with the thought of what this could mean. I can't be pregnant now, she said. As she waited for the result, Precious' mind was flooded with thought and emotion. She wondered if she was ready to be a mother, especially with June not being in her life. She thought about the challenges of raising a child alone and whether she could provide a good life for her baby. What if I'm pregnant, she thought, her heart pounding. Can I do this on my own? Do I want to have a baby for an absent father? She thought about June and the night they shared. Despite everything, she still had feelings for him, but the idea of raising a child without him by her side was just too much for her. As the seconds ticked by, Precious felt a mix of fear and hope. She knew that whatever the result would be, her life was about to change forever. Next episode on Pregnant for My Career Boss at the pregnancy test. The second felt like hours as she waited for the results to appear. Finally, the test. Precious was at the hospital waiting for her prenatal appointment. She was lost in her thoughts when she heard a familiar voice call her name. Precious, June said.